Hi everyone. Do you ever get the feeling that things are happening behind the scenes? Decisions being made that we're not fully aware of? Lately, there's been a lot of talk about Britain's overseas territories, but it feels like it's being kept quiet. Way too quiet. Today, I want to dive into something that could have serious implications for our future: our sovereignty. These territories may seem distant, but what if the way we handle them actually changes our standing on the world stage? There are some questions we do need to start asking. Is Starmer deliberately weakening Britain? Is there something far more sinister going on? Is he making deals with the devil? There are so many questions that need to be asked, but I seriously doubt we'll ever get to hear the answers, but only to see the consequences. So let's take a closer look at what's really going on, and what it means for Britain moving forward. It's not just about land, it's about power, influence, and the choices being made for us. So let's get on with it.
What do you make of the whole Chagos things? First of all, we're like, oh, well, it's James Cleverley's fault. Then we learned that actually this has been in international courts on and off for about 12 years. Then the guy, Jonathan Powell, who was overseeing all of this, about 10 days ago now, was asked about what the outcome would be. And he said, look, this is definitely not a fait accompli. He said, actually, after Hong Kong was returned to China, we must never do this again. And he very much said, you know, this isn't on the table. And then, boom, it suddenly gets slipped out during recess by a press release, and understandably the Argentinians are saying, well, you know, if you're handing out stuff when it comes to overseas territories, we're going to make our claim for the Falklands. And when asked about it himself on Friday, Sir Keir Starmer refused to rule out ending British control of Gibraltar and the Falkland Islands. I mean, does he hate us? Does he want to destroy this country and its influence?
Well, look, this is really serious, and make no mistake, there is a hell of a storm brewing, not only about the fact of the matter, because it is an extraordinary thing for any Prime Minister to do, to blithely give away parts of British sovereign territory in the manner that Sir Keir Starmer has done. It is bad enough that he has given away that territory. We can talk about whether or not that was necessary. It's a side discussion, but for years and years, there have been, it's some years now since one court or another ruled that we ought to do this, and it has been quite successfully ignored for a considerable period of time. But anyway, he's done it. Not only did he do it without any reference to Parliament whatsoever. So MPs had no idea about this. They weren't given any heads up, or still less any say on the matter. Furthermore, to add insult to injury, he has actually charged the British taxpayer for the benefit of giving away our sovereign territory. So there has been a dirty deal done, and it, at the moment, is a secret deal under which the British taxpayer now has to pay Mauritius, who has the country that has now taken our, or been handed our islands on a silver platter. We are now going to be paying Mauritius for some extra infrastructure. What in the name of God is this deal, and how on earth, how the blazers does Sir Keir Starmer think that he can keep the details secret? Because this is public money. So there are a whole series of outrages here. I understand that the Speaker of the House is none too happy that all of this happened during recess, that it was announced to the media, not to MPs, and that a hell of a backlash is brewing over this. And that's before we even get on to what the implications are for Gibraltar, for the Falklands, and additionally for other British overseas territories, including our military bases in very strategic locations. I think it's taken a lot of people 24 hours to absorb the full horror and significance of what has happened here. And I don't know how this plays out. You know, you can't I suspect, unravel what has happened. But I think there'll be a lot of MPs who are very determined to ensure that this can never, ever happen again.
I mean, it just goes to show how reckless and anti-democratic this government is. But what on earth is the motivation here? That's what I don't understand. Why were, turbos put under this all of a sudden? Why was it suddenly like pushed through without scrutiny? What is the motivation? What are they hoping to get from this? Is there some sort of deal that's been made with another country about this that's supposed to work in our favour? I mean, David Lammy, a lot of alarm bells have gone off about the fact that China is very much, deep inside Mauritius. I have this, big, expansive trade deal, and I'm worried now that China could say to Mauritius, well, can we put radars and bits and bobs on your islands in order to have eyes on, which an area that's one of our most important military bases. And David Lammy has sort of been talking about us having a sweeping trade agreement with China again. I don't understand what's going on. Do you have any suspicions?
Yeah, I do actually. We've got a country being run by absolute muppets. That's what's going on here. I mean, the absolute failure to understand the strategic importance of those islands, and at the heart of them is Diego Garcia, which is an American military base, which is very, very few people have ever actually seen what goes on there, but it's extraordinarily important. And the idea that we would be handing this to a very close ally of the Chinese is particularly disturbing. Now, China doesn't tend to ask permission for things. It's much smarter than that. It goes in with sweet deals to countries that are not as powerful as it, which is almost everybody, and then uses its advantage to build up essentially a kind of modern form of colonialism, establishing its own bases everywhere, quite the reverse of what we're doing. So I think it's almost a certainty that China will press this advantage and be having eyes on our allies in the region. And it just seems quite astonishing naivety. But I tell you what else is going on here. It's that whole woke thing about how, the last vestiges of empire, these overseas territories are a bit of an embarrassment, aren't they, to the lefty woke liberals. And so, let's just sort of tidy that up and cast that off. And, while we're at it, because we're guilty about empire, we'll just give them some money as well.
It's absolutely shocking. It is so geopolitically, strategically naive. Why would China not want to go and have eyes on? We all know that China is especially predatory when it comes to trying to get hold of maritime territories, because that's how, I keep saying those who control maritime routes control the international economy. I can't see any reason why China would not want to maximise upon this opportunity. And what they tend to do, as you're saying, is predatory mercantilism. We will build this, we'll provide your country with that, the terms and conditions is that we get X, Y and Z. I mean, to me, there's something very funny going on here. While I've got you, Isabel, I mean, Sir Keir Starmer, he's had a lot of trouble lately, and you've been really at the forefront of nudging at the fact that there may be trouble more to come. Do you think he's got some rocky weeks ahead of him?
Well, Alex, I don't like secrets. Journalists are supposed to reveal stories. That's what we do. We're not supposed to be part of a little club who know things and other people don't know them. And, we all kind of watch each other's backs. That's not how we should be doing our jobs as political journalists. So I've long been aware of... I've never put it stronger than rumours about Sir Keir Starmer, and as have many of my colleagues in the industry. It may seem as if this story has slightly died down, frankly, amid the whole horror of what Sir Keir Starmer's been doing with the rest of what remains of our overseas territories. But I don't think the story has by any means gone away. I think that there are still plenty of people digging away, trying to substantiate the rumours that have circulated for some time. And as I said many times on Talk, if those rumours are rubbish, which they may very well be, if they are, then he should just come out and say so. He needs to front it up.
No, I agree. He's supposed to be the clean one, the transparent one, and he seems to be far from that. Isabel, thank you so much. And before you go...